So let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm looking at right now is a slide of the lymph node in low power. Notice right away in low power, I see a little piece of a lymphatic vessel probably over here. But notice that I can see beautifully here the germinal center that stains lighter. And then remember, we call this whole thing a nodule. I also see the capsule here along the inside, and it invaginates to form these structures that we call trabeculae, but you all don't need to know that, but I'm just letting you, telling you. So here we see the germinal center, and here's the whole nodule. Then notice these spaces right here. So the lymphatic vessel, the afferent lymphatic vessel, is bringing the fluid and it's percolating through these spaces here. These spaces are called the medullary sinuses. And then the cells on either side, those are the medullary cords. Notice that where you see here along the outside, where you see these nodules, from there pretty much to the outside, that's called the cortex of the lymph node. And then where you see these, all of the rest of this going towards the middle, that would be the medulla. Okay, so notice that's a good slide. Just so those of you that are looking at slides, give me a second. Notice that I could see nicely the nodules along the outside. This is just not as good of a slide that we see there. It's not as easy to see the nodules. They are there, but they're not easy to see, so don't go crazy. Just look for another slide like this one that we have right here, where you can clearly see all of the nodules. And then just to make sure, this is really important, that's at low power. I'm going to move it to a little bit higher power. And can you see now the medullary sinus is a little bit better? And then you can see the cells on either side. Those are the cords. So the lymph is percolating through all of those spaces. But what I most important wanted you to realize is that all of those little dots, if I switch it up to the very highest power, notice that those are lymphocytes. Masses and masses of lymphocytes, right? With a capsule. Here's the capsule, dense. Does everybody recognize that dense regular tissue? There at the top. So this is what our Peyer's patches are masses of lymphocytes, but no nodule. Our tonsils, masses of lymphocytes, no capsule. Our, what else do we, appendix, masses of lymphocytes, no capsule. But the lymph node, the spleen, and the thymus gland are going to be these masses of lymphocytes with a capsule. Okay, so that has implications about how big they can grow. Your tonsils can get quite big, as you saw in the video, even closing off your pharynx, right? And the lymph nodes can swell, but only to a certain size because they've got that capsule in it. Okay, so make sure you look at that high power so you can see beautifully those lymphocytes. Okay, all right, so let's stop there, and then give me a second. Let me get the other slide and make sure I have a good one so you don't waste your time and space on your phone.
I have one that's marked too.
Oh, do you? Okay, thank you. Got the good one. You learned the trick. So, let's see. Is this a good one? Yeah, there's a good one too. Okay. And then let's check one other one. Let's see. Just a second, guys. Yeah, that's a nice one. So I'll use that one, and then we get an example of a bad one. That's a nice one. Okay. Next sec.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when I'm in the slide. Okay. All right, ready? Okay, so what we are looking at is we're looking at a section of the small intestine. The food, this is just part of the tube. So the food would be passing along here. This is the muscle. We have two layers of smooth muscle. This we're going to call soon submucosa, and then from here, this is all epithelial tissue mucosa. If we looked closely at a little bit higher power, we would see goblet cells and we would see simple columnar cells. These structures that we see right here are a little bit easier seen if we move over here to the side. This is what we're going to study soon in our digestive system. They kind of look like fingers, right? Can you see these? These we're going to call villi. Along the edges are simple columnar cells. When you look at a finger like that, this is what it looks like from this view. But when you turn it this way, you see a circle, right? So that's what these are over here. These are villi, but we're seeing them from the front end instead of seeing them long. Okay. So you want to scan along, and here in this region right here that we're going to call the submucosa, we're going to look for masses of lymphocytes, the Peyer's patches. So just scan along. If we start at this edge, we don't see anything. But now do you see them?
Yes.
See all of those right there. So here we see, can you see the germinal center? And then the nodule right there. This right here, these are Peyer's patches right here. And so this is what it looks like in a nice slide. If, when you come to Open Lab and you're looking at yours and it looks something like, whoops, wrong slide. This slide right here, don't get confused. It's just not as nice of a slide. So here we are again. This is the same small intestine. Here's our muscle. Here's our mucosa. Here are the villi. But notice it's just not as pretty of a slide, as easy to find. There we go. There's our Peyer's patches right there. It's just not as easy to see them. And then once again, when you get a good slide, make sure that you go over here, scan along, there they are right there, and prove to yourself by going to first medium power, using the nose to turn the objectives, go to medium power there, and then go to high power to prove to yourself that those are just masses of lymphocytes and macrophages that you have there. Like that would be a macrophage, that bigger one there. But these are all just masses of lymphocytes. Okay?
Can you point to the macrophage again?
That you can see they stand out, like there would be one right there, that's probably one right there. They're a tiny bit bigger, they have a little bit small, they have smaller nucleus. Remember the lymphocytes are the one where you could just see a sliver of the cytoplasm, remember that? Okay, that's it guys. So if everyone can look at that, take a picture if you